What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Joe Kilgallon podcast, aka Kilgallon's Pub. Recording on a little bit of a different software right now, so if there's any little snags along the way, I deeply apologize. As always, I want to start off. Is there a little fucking echo going? Son of a bitch. All right, that's better? Cool. I want to start with a little bit of gratitude, everybody. Thanks to all the Patreon subscribers. You too could join the Patreon, patreon.com/Joe Kilgallon. New bonus episodes dropped over the weekend. Top 5 reasons to get drunk. My favorite reasons to get drunk. And I am currently sober. So 214 days in, look at me. And then also, I had a tell-all episode, kind of giving some people some backstory of what had been going on over this past year. Having a rough one, but you know what? Finishing this year off strong, baby. That's how I'm going to do it. And what else is going on in the world today? I will be headlining the St. Louis Funny Bone. Let's get some dates out the gates. St. Louis Funny Bone, that would be October 9th through 12th, 6 shows, a Thursday through a Sunday. So if you were in the St. Louis area, come on out to the St. Louis Funny Bone. It's going to be a great time. I always have a blast whenever I'm down there, so I imagine this time to be no different. Then also another big date I want to give you guys a heads up about, so you could have your holiday plans in order. On December 28th, just 3 days past Christmas, I'll be headlining Zany's Comedy Club in the Old Town neighborhood of Chicago, one of the cooler neighborhoods around. And I headlined that last year around Christmas time. I'm doing it again, hoping to keep that as an annual tradition. Sold it out last time, and you bet your dick I want to sell it out again. So if you are a friend of mine in Chicago, please buy tickets for that. Tickets are already on the website. It means a lot to me. All right. Let's get into some fun stuff right away. Well, I'll tell you what. I got some new tattoos. I could show you guys a little bit. This will make you guys who listen to the audio want to jump on the YouTube. Also, I think I might just go exclusively to YouTube for a while. This week, same schedule, audio and YouTube, but I think I might just go straight to YouTube for a little bit. If you're against that, let me know. I don't know. I think I just got to get the YouTube going. I got to pump it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and now I also realize, do I want to show the tattoos? Yeah, I did get one new one. All right, look at that one right there. You listening on audio are thinking, what is he pointing at? What is he pointing at? And this one got touched up because it was kind of messed up the first time. But that is my guy doing stand-up right there. Who's doing stand-up? Watch it on YouTube. All right, let's get into some nitty-gritty stuff here right now. I was talking with a friend of mine the other day, and we were trying to guess what percentage. You know, they say if you make a certain amount of money, you're in the top 1% or whatever. Like in America, if you make over 200 grand, only 1% of the population makes over 200 grand. Or maybe it's 250. I read something even crazier. If you make over $50,000 a year, you are in the top 1% of the world. The world. So what we were talking about, though, was looks. What percentage do you think you're in? Everyone always asks, hey, 1 to 10, what do you rate yourself? But fuck that. What do you think you are in the global sense of percentages? Like if you're a 10, you're obviously in the 1% of the world population when it comes to bangability, when it comes to like you're smoking hot. You got to be honest with yourself though. So here's the thing though. If you are a Chicago 7, you were probably top 5% of the world. I don't know. There's a lot of ugly places in the world and it's not their fault. Some places just don't get, they don't get the good toothpaste. Some places don't. You know, you think to yourself, am I going to throw a skincare routine on or am I going to worry about eating the next day? So no disrespect to those places, okay? Beauty is from within, but we're also in a superficial world and I'm doing a podcast for entertainment purposes. So let's talk about some ugly son of a bitches. Because I think a lot of people think that more of the world is better looking than they realize. It's tough with men though. Because fellas, we've always seen one guy where you're like, how did you get her? You know? And so I want to blame the ladies, but I also don't. Let me check something here with the volume. I really hope this is working out. Sorry, everyone. Not good radio or not good podcasting or good YouTubing. Okay, so women will always say shit like, how come on a TV show you see a guy like Kevin James with the woman that's just way too hot for him, but you never see that in real life? Bullshit. I see that in real life all the time. All the time, I see a woman who is like an 8 or a 10, 8 to 10, with some dude where you're like, he's got to have a lot of money. He's got to have a big dick. Like, well, what's going on with him? Is he really funny? Because it's just a lot of averageness. And maybe I judge men too harshly. But I don't think I do. I have no problem admitting when a guy's a good-looking guy. You want to throw a guy my way? I'll tell you if he's good-looking or not. One friend of mine said that she thought this one dude was sexy, and I'm like, I can't call a man sexy. I could say a guy's handsome. I could say a good-looking dude. Those are about it. But I just don't see sex appeal in men. I've never come across a man where I thought that guy's sexy. I've come across dudes where I'm like, it's a good head of hair. Look at the fucking jawline on that son of a bitch. All right, making me feel a little insecure right now, but that's okay. I'm taller than you. Like, that's the thing too. Guys were trained to compete. So there's always something we got to have over the other person. I remember my dad met Hugh Hefner. I have a picture of my dad with Hugh Hefner from like the 80s. And my dad is like 8 inches taller than that dude. So I remember thinking, you know what? He may be Hugh Hefner, but my dad's taller than him. That's cool. Like, my dad could beat him up. Most likely, well, he's dead now. And so is my dad. Maybe they're fighting in heaven. No, I think my dad appreciated that Hugh Hefner was from Chicago. You always have an affinity for people who are from where you're from for some reason. But then you also have to just call it out, too. Like, I have no problem saying Chicago has the worst drivers in the country. I really believe that. Granted, I've only driven consistently in 2 cities in America, Los Angeles and Chicago. You'd think I'd say LA, because LA is notorious for bad traffic and everything. No, I think Chicago drivers are worse. They're just dumber. But we're not dumb in other things. I think we're a great city overall. But when it comes to driving, though, we suck. And badly. Maybe we're just too full from all this delicious food we have over here. Perhaps. All right. I wanted to get off some rants here off my chest about some stuff. Let's start with this one. Talking about a little cultural identity. I saw a video on Instagram where the guy, well, he let off terribly because he said Irish people escaped, or not escaped, but Irish people left Ireland in the 1840s to avoid starvation. And right away I was going to be like, no, it's fucking genocide. That was a goddamn genocide, not a famine. But then a bunch of people beat me to the comments on that one. But then there was a lot of comments from probably Irish Americans. I didn't click their profiles. Americans from Irish descent. And there were some stupid comments. A lot of them were being like, they came here legally. And it's like, how the fuck do you know? How do you know? Also, do you know how much easier it was back then? They mentioned Ellis Island. Look at the names at Ellis Island. Well, yeah, because that's where the boat dropped them off. It's kind of hard to sneak over illegally from across a fucking ocean. You know what I mean? Like, damn, they're not that good as swimmers. So it's a little bit of bullshit. All right? America wanted immigrants back then. They wanted to populate, and they had a goal of going across the country. So they needed they needed workers. So they were all about it, and they still treated the workers like shit. Fucking ruling class America sucked back then, too. And so they were all about it. They're, come on over. Yeah, here, sign here. Yeah, you're in. Go over there. And a lot of times they'll speed up the process by saying, if they came over during the Civil War, they'd be like, yo, join the army. Go for it. And so that was another thing. They wanted soldiers. Now, America still needs immigrants. They do. But for whatever reason, we'd rather have from people from Mexico and Central and Southern America just come in illegally. I never understood why we didn't build an Ellis Island on the Rio. Build it on the river. Have a bridge, and then they could walk up and knock on the door and be like, hi, how you doing? All right, my name's Carlos. Yes, this is my accent. I would love to become an American citizen. I am a wonderfully hard worker, and I could cook some sick burritos on the side. So you could put me to work on a construction site or some other things. And then there's some other ones who come over and be like, hi, I was a professor at the University of Mexico City, but kind of feeling like I would like to experience winter. I'd like to go up to Minneapolis and check out this ice hockey I've heard of. Yeah, I want to freeze my tits off with some guys who look Swedish. You know, stuff like that. So that's when it always annoyed me. It's like they came over legally. And it was so much easier back then. I actually found my great-grandfather's naturalization paper. I could, if you give me 1 second, I could pull it up on my phone here. This is also just, I'm killing it with the radio or with the professionalism. This shouldn't take long. Here we go. Yes. From Swinford, Ireland. Came to New York in 1928. He was born in 1903. Let's see here. He left Liverpool. That's where the boat left. His home was in... Oh, the fucking writing's not great on this. Tumgesh? Tumgesh, Ireland, which is probably like the area that surrounds Swinford. Or maybe he was born in Swinford and left there. The name of the vessel was the Franconian. And get this. So here's what you had to do. For a petition, you needed affidavits of witnesses. These are basically your sponsors. Let's hear the names on this first guy. Simon R. Kennedy. Oh, wow. It's really hard to get a Kennedy to fucking endorse an Irish immigrant coming over. He lived at 1648 North LeClaire Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. And then here's the other one. Mark McDonnell. He lived at 1424 Berwyn Avenue, also Chicago, Illinois. Like, two people with Irish last names, although either could be Scottish as well, just gladly, like, they probably even know him. He probably got in line with 55 other Irish immigrants on that day, and they signed them all up. And then they told him who to vote for, try to get them in unions. Because he came over, it said laborer, but that just meant he'd do any work, probably. That's what they meant back then. So anyway, yeah, my great-grandfather, I found his naturalization papers. Yeah, he lived in Chicago as well, west side of the city. Yeah, so it's like, I don't know. I just don't understand people. You could be like, I'm proud of my immigrant background, but they came legal. Like, it's not easy to come over legally. Times have changed. So by saying that, do I also want millions and millions and millions and millions of people just open, just running through? No, I think there should be a process. Let's figure out a process. A Republican president. Republicans, you remember Ronald Reagan? You guys used to love him. Now I feel like you look back at him like he was some sort of hippie, which is crazy because at the time he was considered very, very like extreme right wing almost. He granted amnesty, which means he legalized 3 million immigrants because you know how important immigrants were to America. And this idea that everyone assimilated right away, I don't know how true that is. I think there was assimilation, don't get me wrong, especially if they had kids who were in schools. But if you drive in any city in America, even through small towns, you're going to come across a Chinese restaurant that when you walk in, there's decked out in Chinese stuff. You're definitely going to come across an Irish pub, an Italian restaurant, like, you know what I mean? Cafe, like all sorts of different things that were brought to the table to make America like this awesome melting pot of great cultures, And I think we've lost that. We do. So you have to ask yourself, if you have actual hate for immigrants, whether they're here through legal channels or illegal channels, ask yourself why. Like, what's wrong with you? What's going on in your life? What's the real problem? Let's pull back some layers. Let's figure it out. Let's get psychological with it. All right, another thing, too. This is a stupid thing that people say. Oh, you support Palestine? You do? Well, do you know that Palestine hates gay people? Yeah. Aren't you a gay ally? Yeah. Well, what's the point of saying that? Oh, I didn't know that. So you mean to tell me that Palestine and Hamas, they are against the LGBT community? Oh, well, thank you for educating me on that. Now I'm totally cool with children and women dying over there. The fuck? No, dude, I don't fucking care. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me first and foremost is that they shouldn't be getting fucking blown away the way they are. Okay? And if those of you, it started October 7th. No, it started way before October 7th. That's a whole nother podcast and a history there. Okay? Obviously, I want peace there. And I'm not saying October 7th, like, not sticking up for that. But it's clear to me that throughout history, whenever oppressors, they're going to get back. They're going to get backsplash. Backsplash? What the fuck's wrong with me? So you don't get all these resistance movements without first there being something to resist. I guess I am getting into the backstory of it. But long story short, I'm not. And two things that piss me off the most about this, and I'm going to rephrase them. Two things that piss me off the most about the conflict in Palestine. One is when people say, oh, well, Hamas doesn't support gay rights. Palestinians don't support gay rights. Okay. Like, again, what do you want me to say to that? Oh, they don't? All right, yeah, cool. Let's keep bombing the shit out of them. Let's keep killing children and babies. I don't fucking care. Would I like them to be supportive of that? Yes, I would. Of course I would. But it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that they're alive. Let's not kill them. You know what I mean? I'm against genocide. And I don't have on my list of things what makes me against genocide is not like I have a cross checklist. Be like, oh, I'm against genocide. Oh, wait, hold up. They root for the Green Bay Packers? No, I'm totally cool with it now. No, it doesn't work that way. I'm against genocide in all its forms. Simple. Really fucking simple. And the other thing is when people say, oh, you're free Palestine, so you hate Jews? No. What the fuck are you talking about? like, again, before, I hate women and children getting their fucking heads cut off or blown up. You know, that's what I hate. So when people say you're free Palestine, therefore you hate the Jews, I think they're just fucking idiots. Or they're not idiots. They know what they're doing. They're trying to change the conversation. Okay? I love Jewish people. Not all of them. I'm sure there's a few out there that litter or do something terrible, but most of the Jewish people in my life, I'm a big fan of. And would never hate anyone for their background. I hate people based on their character, and people should hate me based on my character. Nobody should say, oh, this guy's from Chicago, I hate him. But like, I don't see how those equate, okay? They think because you don't want a genocide to occur, therefore you're anti-Semitic. That's crazy to me. You know what I mean? I didn't like the genocide that was happening during the Holocaust. That doesn't mean I hated Germans. I hated Nazis. I hated Nazi Germans. But there was probably a lot of Germans at the time who were like, this is fucked up. I'm not cool with this shit at all. My tax dollars are going towards this. You know what I mean? I hate the government. Don't hate the people. All right. Yeah, sorry. I'm a little off today. I don't know what the hell that's about. Well, I'll have a lot more news going up. I got a thing this afternoon that's going to be good for me. I really believe that. Are we ever going to release these Epstein files too, by the way? I bring that up because Trump is on his period again. He's denying over, $200 billion to Chicago to help fix our transit or for funding for our transit. Also, this goes back to Gaza. Trump threatens hell on Hamas if they don't accept deal. Has it not already been hell there? Has it not already been hell in Palestine? Has the Gaza Strip not already experienced that? What does that look like? It's already rubble. I'm telling you, there are some sick fucks in the United States government, in the Israeli government, that just won't be happy unless all of these people are just gone. So that they could take over the water there and build their little fucking casinos, because it's never enough for these sociopaths. It's true. It's never enough. I know this is supposed to be a comedy podcast, but like, think about how fucked up that is. Right? It's like, I don't get these people. How is it not enough money for you? Why do you need more? Well, I have to think about my great-great-great-great-grandson. You want him to be a cunt? That's what I hear. That's all I hear with that shit. Like, why are the same people who tell everyone else, stop being so lazy, look what I built, which it's never them by themselves, but they always take more credit for it than they deserve. Oh, look at me, look what I did. They never want their offsprings to fucking have to work a day. I don't get that. Like, have you ever met someone who's born with a silver spoon in their mouth? They're usually an asshole. Do your children's children a favor. I'm not saying have a little nest egg. Throw some money aside for their education. But this idea that they should never have to work a day is fucked. Okay? They're going to end up being a bunch of weirdos. They're going to end up going to the island in which you won't release the fucking files. Creepy fuck. Because again, a normal person would say, okay, I've got $150 million. That's more than any human being could ever spend. I'm going to go chill. These guys know they can't go chill. And then they convince people, I'm here to help. I want to make America great again. Or you could be like Elon Musk, even weirder. I grew up in South Africa. I'm worth more money than it's ever been around in the history of the world. $250 billion. No one's ever been richer than me. And yet I want to spend my free time cutting programs to save each taxpayer 85 cents. That's what they want to do. That's a fucking weirdo. And he is. If I had never showed you a picture of him, or say you live in a world where you have no idea who this man is. No idea. Never even heard the name. And I show you his picture and tell you that he is being accused of being a child molester. Before I finish the word molester, you'd say guilty. Look at that dude. Of course he did it. Lock him up. His face looks like it melts. Don't ever look. I'm not saying you can't, there's plenty of good Republicans out there, but in your heart of heart, I tell you, Elon Musk wants to babysit your children. Do you let him? Donald Trump wants to hang out with your teenage daughter. Do you let him? No way. No way in hell. There's no fucking way. And if you do, you're in a cult. Just admit you're in a cult. I have minced no words about this. I have voted Democrat most of my life. I voted for a Republican in like a local election thing because, local politics get a little different. Because here's the thing. With local politics, one party will always just hire all their friends. And at that time, I remember thinking, the Democrats hire all their friends, and a lot of their friends are idiots these days. Republicans in Illinois don't have any friends, so I'm going to vote for this guy because who the fuck's he going to hire? He doesn't know anybody. So anyway, but this idea of voting for a party and treating that party like that's your team, this is my team, is kind of dumb. Okay, because then you find yourself defending shit that you should not defend. Like when people say to me, hey, Joe, what if Bill Clinton is on the Epstein list? I go, then I hope he gets a cell right next to Trump and whoever else was doing horrible things to underage women and underage children, right? Why you think that's a got me? Oh, what about Bill Clinton? What if Bill Clinton's on it? Well, then I hope he goes to jail. I don't give a fuck. Why the fuck would I care about a president when I was 10 years old? I don't give a shit what Bill Clinton does. If Bill Clinton's a fucking criminal, lock him the fuck up. Why would that bother me? That's not a got you moment. And I've said that to a couple of my Trump supporting friends, and they kind of look like, what? Like, I thought you picked a leader and then you just did whatever they wanted, and then you just go, like, that's them. That is some of you. Some of you are so screwed up in the head that Trump could do horrible things that I can't say because YouTube will be like, no, we're not going to show this to anyone, to your mother. And you'll be like, well, I guess, maybe my mom was in the way, or maybe he had to do that to make America great again, and my mom should just be thankful that horrible things happened to her. I don't know, mega. Like, that's some of you. And that's fucking crazy. It really is. And if you're on the left and you find a leader like that, you're fucked too. You're fucked too. Because here's the thing. Like, I remember when people thought that the Biden beating Trump in 2020 was a fixed election because I didn't see Biden merch. I don't see any Biden flags because it's fucking stupid. That's fucking dumb. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard of in my life. And then they'll say, I only bought it to own the libs and make the libs mad. It made us laugh. It made us think, why would you spend $50 on a fucking flag that says a man's name on it? A little queer. All right. So, that's just another one of those couple things right there. Just annoying the shit out of me. Other than that, though, I've had a pretty good week. A lot to look forward to. I went to the Chicago Cubs, San Diego Padres playoff game, game 2 of that new 3-game set that they're doing. So the new style is the wild card teams face off against each other and the worst division winner. So the division winner with the least amount of wins was the Dodgers. So the Dodgers take on the wild card team with the least amount of wins. That was the Reds. So it was Dodgers, Reds on one side. Dodgers swept best 2 out of 3. And then the Cubs took on the Padres. The Cubs were the higher seed, so we had all 3 games at home. Since this format has started, the home team has been heavily favored. I think it was coming into this year of the series, it was like the home team was like 11-1 or something like that, because it's only about a couple years old, this new style. But my Cubs were victorious. They won game 3, close game, 3-1. Felt like the Cubs were in control through most of the game. Got a little dice at the end. A couple calls went our way, which in the moment you go, ooh, but then later you're like, I'm a Cubs fan. We deserve a lot of calls to go our way, given our history. So I'm totally fine with that. But the Padres were pissed because it was ball 4, and it would have changed the 9th inning to an extent. It would have loaded the bases with 1 out. That's a difference maker. They were fucking going hard at the umpires as they were leaving. Like the Cubs on the field celebrating, and the umpires have to go through the visitors' dugout to get to the umpires' locker room. And you just see Padres players starting to be held back, being like, you fucking piece of shit. And you know what, though? I'm okay with that. I'm okay. You know what it reminds me of? When someone gets fired, because the Padres season's over. But when someone gets fired and then they decide, are you going to fire me? All right, well, let me tell you something. I think you're a fucking moron who's going to lose a lot of money in this game. I think your son's an ugly piece of shit. I don't know why you have him hanging around here. Just the sight of his face makes us all want to puke. I think that you are probably a man who can't get it up. I think, you tear into him. Tear into him. You're on your way out the door. You just got fired. So I'm cool with the Padres doing that. Their season's over. What are they going to do? Maybe they'll get fined, but they're not going to get suspended for the next year. That's when you do it. You're on the way out the door being like, hey, dickhead, open up your fucking eyes. Hey, there's a Warbley Parker around the corner. Maybe you should get him checked. I love that. I'm a big fan of that. Fucking fly going around in my goddamn. It's been a hot October so far. Granted, we're only 3 days into it. But I remember last October in the Chicagoland area being a scorcher. So if that comes about again, then I'm going to be really interested to see how this plays out. All right. See, now I have this new way of doing things. I have no idea how long I've been recording. Oh, I'm 25 minutes in. All right, that's pretty ranty. I wanted to keep it about a tight 25. I'll do that. A Patreon episode will be dropped over the weekend for you Patreon subscribers. I hope you enjoyed the last one. And, I'll keep you up to date. I'm looking into upgrading the whole setup right now. So hopefully this is the last week of not such a great background, of not the best audio. I know the P's are popping a little bit. Sorry about that. So I got to reinvest back into this and go hard. I got to become a content machine because there's a million things going on in this brain that I think a lot of you will enjoy, and it'll be helpful to me. So there you go. All right. Thank you for listening to the Joe Kilgallon podcast, everyone. Cheers.